Most people cry at weddings because they are happy. My sister is sobbing right now because she just watched the FBI tackle her groom to the ground at the altar. The guests are screaming. The expensive white lilies are being crushed under heavy tactical boots. And Liam, the man who thought he was untouchable, is looking directly at me. His face is pale. He is mouthing the word, how? I just smile. I take a sip of my champagne. He thinks this is bad luck. He thinks this is a mistake. He has no idea that I have been planning this moment for exactly 8 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. Welcome to the worst day of your life, Liam. My name is Maya. I am 34 years old, and if you ask my family, they would tell you I am a failure. To my mother, I'm the daughter who wasted her potential. To my father, I'm the one who sits in her apartment all day, staring at screens, barely making rent. To my sister Sarah, I am the charity case she has to invite to dinner out of pity. They see what I let them see: sweatpants, messy hair, an old Honda Civic parked in the driveway. What they do not know is that the screens I stare at are tracking millions of dollars in illicit funds for private equity firms. They do not know that my freelance gig is forensic accounting. I hunt fraudsters, I trace hidden assets. And last year, I made $350,000 while sitting on my couch in those same sweatpants. I prefer being underestimated. In my line of work, invisibility is a superpower, but being invisible has a downside. You hear things, you see things people think they are hiding. And the moment Liam walked into our lives, my internal alarm bells started ringing. It started at Thanksgiving dinner. The air smelled of roasted turkey and expensive cologne. Liam's cologne. Liam was the golden boy, tall, handsome, and CEO of a fintech startup that utilized blockchain AI synergy. Whatever that meant. He had charmed my parents instantly. He drove a Porsche. He bought my dad vintage scotch. He promised Sarah a dream wedding in the Hamptons. I was sitting at the end of the table, quietly eating my potatoes. So, Maya, Liam said, his voice loud enough to stop all other conversations. Sarah tells me you are still looking for yourself? The table went silent. My mother sighed. Oh, don't ask Liam. Maya is just taking some time. Again, Liam laughed. It was a condescending, wet sound. Hey, no judgment. Not everyone is cut out for the grind. My company just hired an intern, 19 years old. Kid is already making 6 figures. But hey, it is a competitive world. Some people are sharks, some people are, well, plankton. He winked at me. If you need a loan for rent this month, just ask Sarah. I do not mind supporting family. My father chuckled. You are too generous, Liam. Maya needs to learn to stand on her own 2 feet. I felt the heat rise in my chest, not shame. Rage, cold, sharp rage. I looked at Liam, really looked at him. I saw the Rolex on his wrist. It was a Submariner, but the bezel looked slightly off under the dining room lights. The font on the dial was maybe 0.5 millimeter too thick. Nice watch, I said softly. Thanks, he beamed, puffing out his chest. Vintage, 1982. Cost me more than your car. Interesting, I said. I didn't know Rolex used that specific shade of ceramic on the 1982 models. I thought they introduced it in 2005. The room went dead silent again. Liam's smile faltered for a fraction of a second. Just a glitch in the matrix. You read too many blogs, Maya, he sneered, turning away. Leave the luxury goods to the people who can afford them. That was the moment. That was the trigger. He didn't just insult me. He made a mistake. He showed a crack in the armor. And as a forensic accountant, cracks are where I live. I went home early that night. I didn't cry. I didn't call a friend to vent. I walked into my apartment, locked the door, and walked into my home office. I powered up my primary rig, 3 monitors, encrypted servers, and a direct line to databases that most people don't even know exist. Okay, Liam, I whispered to the empty room. Let's see who you really are. I started with the basics. His name, Liam J. Sterling. According to his LinkedIn, he was a graduate of Wharton, class of 2015, founder of Nexus Capital. I pulled the alumni records for Wharton. There were 3 Liams in the class of 2015. None of them were him. Strike 1. I ran a background check on Nexus Capital. It had a sleek website, stock photos of people shaking hands, a roadmap full of buzzwords. But when I checked the business registration, the address led to a UPS mailbox in a strip mall in Delaware. Strike 2. But liars like Liam are common. People fake degrees. People rent mailboxes. That doesn't make them criminals. It just makes them pathetic. I needed more. I needed to know where the money was coming from. How was he affording the Porsche, the dinners, the engagement ring? I decided to dig deeper. I needed access to his digital footprint, and for that, I needed to get close to him again. I knew this investigation was going to be dangerous. Men like Liam do not just lie. They destroy anyone who threatens their house of cards. But I was already too deep. If you enjoy watching arrogant fraudsters get exposed piece by piece, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am going to show you exactly how I dismantled his life. And you do not want to miss the evidence I found next. 2 weeks later, I invited myself over to Sarah and Liam's penthouse. I played the role perfectly. I wore an oversized sweater. I looked tired. I brought a cheap bottle of wine. I just wanted to apologize, I told Liam, for the dinner. I've been stressed. You were right. I need to get my life together. Liam ate it up. Narcissists love apologies. It feeds their ego. It takes a big person to admit they are small, Maya, he said, pouring himself a drink. I accept. While Sarah was in the kitchen, I saw his laptop sitting on the coffee table. It was open. Can I use your bathroom? I asked. Down the hall, he pointed, not even looking at me. I walked down the hall, waited 3 seconds, and then doubled back. Liam had moved to the balcony to take a call. I had maybe 60 seconds. I pulled a USB rubber ducky drive from my sleeve, a tool that executes scripts the moment it is plugged in. I inserted it into his laptop. 5 seconds. The screen flickered. 10 seconds. The payload was delivering. I was installing a keylogger and a remote backdoor. 15 seconds. Liam turned around on the balcony. I yanked the drive out and slipped it into my pocket just as he walked back inside. Everything okay? He asked. Fine, I smiled. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Just admiring the view. It must cost a fortune to live here. $7,000 a month, he bragged. But for me, pocket change. I went home and waited. That night, the data started pouring in, every keystroke, every password, every email. And that is when I saw it. I opened his bank statements. I expected to see money from investors. I expected to see business loans. Instead, I saw transfers, huge transfers, $50,000, $100,000. But it wasn't coming from clients. I traced the routing numbers. The source accounts belonged to 2 people, Robert and Linda Miller, my parents. He wasn't just a fraud. He was draining my parents' retirement accounts. He had convinced them to invest their life savings into his fake company. I stared at the screen. The total amount transferred was $450,000, everything they had worked for. Gone. My hands started to shake. This wasn't a game anymore. This was war. But then I saw an email pop up in his inbox. It was from a contact named Viper. The subject line read, "The insurance policy is ready. If the wedding doesn't happen, as nobody gets paid." I realized then that my parents' money was just the beginning. Liam was planning something much darker for Sarah, and I had only 3 weeks until the wedding to stop him. The insurance policy is ready. Those 5 words burned into my retina. I did not sleep that night. I sat in the dark, the blue light of my monitors reflecting in my eyes, tracing the digital ghost known as Viper. It took me 4 hours to crack the encryption on the email header. It led to a shell company in the Cayman Islands, but I dug deeper. I followed the IP address logs. I cross-referenced the metadata with dark web marketplaces. And then I found him. Viper wasn't a person. It was a service, a cleaner for white-collar criminals. They specialize in 2 things, disappearing money and manufacturing accidents. My blood ran cold. I went back to Liam's files. I searched for policy, and there it was. A life insurance document. Beneficiary, Liam J. Sterling. Insured, Sarah Mitchell, my sister. Payout, $5 million. When effective date, the day after the wedding. I felt like I was going to throw up. Liam wasn't just stealing my parents' retirement. He wasn't just using Sarah for her credit score. He was betting on her death. He was in debt to dangerous people, likely the investors of his Ponzi scheme who were demanding their money back. Sarah was his exit strategy. He would marry her, inherit her assets, and then a tragic accident on their honeymoon. I reached for my phone to call the police. My finger hovered over the dial button. Stop. Think. I am a forensic accountant. I know how the law works. Right now, I have hacked emails and a digital trail that is inadmissible in court. If I go to the police now, Liam claims he was hacked. He lawyers up. He destroys the evidence. He disappears with my parents' money. And he hurts my sister before the cops can even file a report. No, I need something concrete. I need a confession. Or I need him to sign his own death warrant. The next day, the family met for brunch. The atmosphere was tense. Liam was on edge. He kept checking his phone. He knew someone had accessed his laptop, but he didn't know who. I walked in wearing my oldest hoodie, looking exhausted. I needed him to think I was weak. I needed him to underestimate me. "You look terrible, Maya," Liam sneered as I sat down. "Rough night of doing nothing." "Just insomnia," I mumbled, stabbing at my pancakes. "And I think my laptop has a virus. I lost all my photos." I watched his eyes. His pupils dilated slightly. Relief. He thought I was the one with tech problems. He didn't suspect I was the one inside his system. "You really should be more careful," Liam said, his voice dripping with fake concern. "Cybersecurity is serious. I could have my IT guys look at it for you. For a price, of course." "That would be great," I said. "I am just so bad with computers." I saw a smirk curl on his lips. He took the bait. He thought I was stupid. But then he did something I didn't expect. "By the way," Liam said, pulling a document out of his briefcase, "Sarah and I have been talking. Since I am bringing significant assets into this marriage, my lawyers suggested a prenup." Sarah looked uncomfortable. "Liam, I told you I don't care about the money." "I know, baby," he soothed her, taking her hand. "But it protects you, too. It separates our liabilities. Just sign it, and we can focus on the party." He slid the paper across the table. I glanced at the document upside down. It wasn't a prenup. It was a power of attorney. If Sarah signed that, she wasn't protecting herself. She was giving Liam full legal control over her finances, her medical decisions, and her life. He could drain her accounts, take out loans in her name, and she wouldn't even know until the debt collectors came knocking. Sarah picked up the pen. My heart hammered against my ribs. I had to stop her without blowing my cover. I knocked my coffee cup over. Brown liquid splashed everywhere, all over the table, all over the document. "Oh my God!" I shrieked, jumping up. "I am so clumsy. I am so sorry." "Maya!" Liam shouted, his face twisting into ugly rage. He snatched the soaking wet paper. "You idiot! Do you know how much legal fees cost to draft this?" "I am sorry," I stammered, grabbing napkins. "I'll pay for it." "With what money?" he spat. "You are useless, Maya. Completely useless." Sarah stood up. "Liam, that is enough. It was an accident." Liam took a deep breath, composing himself. The mask slid back into place. "You are right. I'm sorry. I'm just stressed about the merger. I will print another copy later." He glared at me. It wasn't just annoyance in his eyes anymore. It was suspicion. He sensed that my clumsiness was too convenient. The clock was ticking. He would get her to sign that paper eventually. I had bought myself maybe 24 hours. That night, I was back at my monitors. I needed to accelerate my plan. I was building a trap, a fake investor profile. I created a digital persona, a wealthy venture capitalist looking for high-risk crypto projects. I was going to lure Liam into a deal so illegal, so clearly fraudulent, that the FBI would have no choice but to arrest him the moment he signed. I sent the bait email at 2 in the morning. At 2:05, Liam replied, "Desperation makes people sloppy." We scheduled a meeting, digital, encrypted. I used a voice modulator. "I have seen your portfolio, Liam," I said, my voice deep and distorted. "But I need assurance. I need to know your liquidity is real." "It is real," Liam lied. "I have $5 million coming in next week." "The insurance policy?" I asked. Silence on the other end. "How do you know about that?" Liam's voice cracked. "I know everything," I bluffed. "If you want my $20 million, you need to prove you are committed. I want full access to your ledger, tonight." I can't," he stammered. "My ledger is on a cold storage drive. It is in my safe." "Then get it." "I can't access the safe remotely, and I am at my bachelor party tomorrow." I paused. This was it. "Tomorrow night," I said. "At the rehearsal dinner. You will bring the drive, or the deal is off." "Fine," he agreed. I disconnected. I leaned back in my chair, adrenaline flooding my veins. I had him. He was going to bring the evidence of every crime he had ever committed right to me. But then my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Maya, big news. Liam surprised me. We are moving the wedding up. We are eloping tomorrow morning at the courthouse before the party." So excited. My phone fell from my hand. Tomorrow morning? My plan was set for tomorrow night. If they married in the morning, the insurance policy would be active immediately. The power of attorney would be signed. Once they were legally husband and wife, my parents' money would be community property. He could drain it legally, and Sarah would be in the kill zone. I checked the time. It was 3:30 in the morning. I didn't have 24 hours. I had 4 hours. I had to break into his apartment now. I drove to his building. It was a fortress. Doorman, cameras, key fob elevators. But I knew something Liam didn't. I knew he was cheap. He bragged about his state-of-the-art security system, but I had seen the invoice. He bought the discount package, the one with a known firmware vulnerability in the smart locks. I sat in my car, laptop on my knees, running the exploit script. Access denied, access denied, access granted. The lobby door clicked open. I pulled my hood up and slipped inside. The elevator took me to the penthouse. I reached his door. My hands were sweating. If he was awake, if he had a gun, this was over. I cracked the smart lock on his front door. It slid open silently. The apartment was dark. I could hear his heavy breathing from the bedroom. He was asleep. I crept toward his office. The floorboards creaked. Liam's breathing stopped. I froze. "Who is there?" Liam's voice called out from the darkness. Then, the unmistakable sound of a drawer sliding open, and the click of a gun safety being disengaged. I was trapped in the hallway. No exit, and the footsteps were coming toward me. I was trapped. Liam was 10 feet away, gun raised, moving closer. If he turned the corner, he would see me, and in the dark, panicked and desperate, he would shoot first and ask questions later. I didn't have a weapon. I had my laptop. I looked at the screen. I was still connected to his local network. I opened the smart home control panel I had hacked earlier. Lighting control, master bedroom. Audio system, living room. Security alarm, armed. I didn't hesitate. I executed a command. Beep, beep, beep. The fire alarm screamed to life. It was deafening. At the same time, I blasted the living room speakers to 100% volume. Heavy bass shook the floorboards. "What the hell?" Liam shouted, flinching. He spun around, distracted by the noise, looking toward the living room. That was my window. 3 seconds. I sprinted. Not back to the front door. Too exposed. I dove into the guest bathroom on my right and locked the door. Outside, I heard Liam running to the security panel, cursing, trying to shut off the noise. I climbed onto the toilet seat and pushed open the small ventilation window. It led to the fire escape. I squeezed through, scraping my arm against the brick, and dropped onto the metal grate outside just as the noise inside abruptly stopped. I scrambled down the fire escape, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I reached the alleyway and didn't stop running until I was 3 blocks away. I sat in my car, shaking. I looked at my arm, blood, but then I looked at my laptop. During the distraction, the download had finished. I had the ledger. I had the private keys to his crypto wallets. And I had the insurance policy draft. It was 4 in the morning. The wedding was at 9. I had 5 hours to ruin his life. I didn't go home. I went to a 24-hour diner. I ordered black coffee and started working. I opened the files. It was worse than I thought. Liam wasn't just a fraudster. He was a ghost. The money he stole from my parents, he had already laundered it through 3 different shell companies in Estonia. If I handed this to the FBI, it would take them months to unravel. By then, Liam would be out on bail, and the money would be gone forever. The law is too slow. Justice needs to be faster. I looked at the crypto keys I had stolen. $2 million in Bitcoin, stolen money, sitting in a digital wallet that only Liam could access. Well, Liam. And now, me. I cracked my knuckles. I wrote a script. A simple, automated program. I set it to execute at exactly 9:15 a.m., right in the middle of the vows. Then I compiled the evidence, the emails, the fake identities, the insurance policy on Sarah's life. I sent it all in a neat encrypted package to 3 recipients. 1, the FBI Cybercrimes Division. 2, the SEC Securities and Exchange Commission. 3, the local police department precinct chief. Subject line, immediate threat to life / grand larceny in progress. I closed my laptop. I changed out of my hoodie in the diner bathroom. I put on a nice dress I had in my trunk. I applied lipstick. I looked in the mirror. Maya the failure was gone. Maya the executioner was ready. City Hall, 9 a.m. The morning sun was bright, too bright for what was about to happen. My parents were there, looking proud. Sarah looked beautiful in a simple white dress, holding a bouquet of hydrangeas. And Liam, he looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. But he was smiling, the smile of a man who thinks he got away with it. He saw me walking up the steps. His eyes narrowed. He noticed the bandage on my arm. I saw the realization hit him. He knew. He knew it was me in the hallway. He excused himself and walked over to me, grabbing my arm tight. Too tight. "You have a lot of nerve showing up here," he hissed, his voice low and dangerous. "I know what you did last night." "Do you?" I smiled sweetly. "I am going to destroy you, Maya," he whispered. "As soon as I sign those papers, I own this family. I own your parents' house. I own Sarah. And you? I will make sure you end up in a cell." "Interesting," I said, checking my watch. 9:14. "Because I got you a wedding gift." "What?" "Go ahead," I nodded toward the altar. "Don't keep the bride waiting." He glared at me, adjusted his tie, and walked back to Sarah. The judge began the ceremony. "We are gathered here today." 9:15. My phone buzzed in my purse. Script executed. At the altar, Liam's pocket vibrated. Then again, and again. A relentless stream of notifications. He tried to ignore it. He reached for Sarah's hand. "Do you, Liam, take Sarah?" The doors of the courtroom burst open. It wasn't guests. It was 6 federal agents in tactical vests. "Liam Sterling!" the lead agent shouted. "Step away from the bride!" my mother screamed. Sarah dropped her bouquet. Liam froze. He looked at the agents, then at the judge, then at me. "This is a mistake!" Liam yelled, trying to sound authoritative. "Do you know who I am? I am a tech innovator." "You are a scammer running a Ponzi scheme," the agent said, cuffing Liam's hands behind his back. "And you are under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit murder." "Murder?" Sarah gasped, stepping back. "Check his pockets," I called out from the back of the room. The agent pulled out Liam's phone. It was still lighting up. "What is this?" the agent asked, looking at the screen. I stepped forward. "Those are transfer notifications," I said calmly. "Every single penny in his offshore crypto wallets just moved." Liam's face went white. "What did you do?" he screamed at me. "Where is my money?" "It is not your money, Liam," I said. "It belongs to the people you stole from." I turned to my parents, Mom, Dad. "Check your bank accounts." My dad fumbled with his phone. He opened his banking app. His jaw dropped. "It is? It is all back?" he stammered. "The retirement fund, it is all back." "I reversed the transactions," I told the room. "I hacked the hacker." Liam lunged at me, spitting and screaming like a rabid animal. "You bitch! That was my exit money. You ruined everything." The agents dragged him out. As he passed me, I leaned in close. "You called me useless," I whispered. "But I think I was pretty useful today, don't you?" The courtroom was silent after they took him away. Sarah was crying on a bench. My mother was holding her. My father walked over to me. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. "Maya," he said, You did all this?" "Yes," I said. "You knew?" "Why didn't you tell us?" "Would you have believed me?" I asked. "If I told you the golden boy was a criminal, would you have listened to the failure daughter?" He didn't answer. He couldn't. I walked over to Sarah. I handed her a file. "What is this?" she sniffled. "The life insurance policy he took out on you," I said. "He wasn't going to love you, Sarah. He was going to cash you out." She read the first page. She vomited into a trash can. It was harsh, but she needed to wake up. I didn't stay for the family meeting. I didn't want their apologies. I didn't want their praise. I walked out of City Hall and into the bright sunlight. I got into my old Honda Civic. It started with a rattle. My phone pinged. A notification from my bank, a transfer fee. I kept a standard 10% consulting fee from the $2 million I recovered from Liam's other victims before returning the rest. $200,000. Not a bad payday for a useless freelancer. I put the car in gear. People think revenge is fiery. They think it is loud. But they are wrong. Real revenge is quiet, it is detailed, it is patient, and it is best served with a side of justice. My name is Maya. I hunt monsters. And I am just getting started. If you enjoyed seeing a scammer get what he deserved, hit the like button. And if you think I should go after his business partner next, let me know in the comments. See you in the next case.